Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the issue that has been dominating fan discussions across social media platforms and message boards for months now, the increasingly frustrating Who Shot Drew Cain storyline that continues to unfold without any satisfying resolution in sight. The timeline problem. Drew Cain was shot on September 2, 2025, in what initially promised to be one of the most gripping mysteries General Hospital has delivered in recent years. Now, as we approach the end of January 2026, viewers are left bewildered and exhausted by the lack of answers. Nearly 5 months have passed since that fateful shooting, and the identity of the person who pulled the trigger remains shrouded in mystery. The pacing of this storyline has tested the patience of even the most dedicated General Hospital fans, who have been vocal about their displeasure with how long this arc has been stretched out. The soap opera initially executed a masterful job in constructing the foundation for this mystery. The buildup was nothing short of spectacular, with tension mounting week after week as the writers carefully planted seeds of suspicion throughout Port Charles. More than half the town's residents had legitimate, compelling reasons to want Drew Cain eliminated from their lives permanently. The writers created a web of interconnected motives that kept viewers guessing and theorizing about potential suspects. Every episode seemed to add another layer to the mystery, another person with a grudge, another opportunity for someone to take matters into their own hands. Drew's enemies list. Drew Cain has managed to accumulate an impressive roster of enemies during his time in Port Charles, making the infamous J.R. Ewing from Dallas look like a beloved community figure by comparison. His actions have been so reprehensible, his betrayal so deep, that identifying who wanted him dead has become more challenging than figuring out who didn't. The character has systematically burned bridges with nearly everyone he's encountered, creating a perfect storm of suspects for this mystery. Initially, viewers were captivated by the whodunit aspect of the storyline. The anticipation was electric as fans debated endlessly about which character finally snapped and decided to take justice into their own hands. Social media exploded with theories, speculation, and passionate arguments about the most likely culprit. Everyone was aboard the Who Shot Drew Express train, eagerly awaiting the big reveal that would explain which Port Charles resident crossed the line from anger to attempted murder. The suspect pool. The list of people who despise Drew Cain reads like a Port Charles phone book. Willow Cain discovered the most devastating betrayal imaginable. Drew had engaged in an intimate encounter with her own mother, Nina Reeves, on what should have been the happiest day of Willow's life, their wedding day. The emotional devastation this revelation caused cannot be overstated. Willow's world crumbled as she realized the man she was about to marry had committed the ultimate betrayal with her mother of all people. Drew's criminal behavior extended beyond personal betrayals into actual blackmail operations. He held damaging information over both Portia Robinson and Curtis Ashford, threatening to destroy their lives and reputations unless they complied with his demands. The psychological torture he inflicted on this couple demonstrated just how far Drew had fallen from the heroic figure he once was. His manipulation tactics knew no bounds, and he showed no remorse for the pain he caused. The situation with Scout Quartermain added another dimension to Drew's villainy. He deliberately limited his own daughter's contact with her extended Quartermain family, using the child as a pawn in his twisted games of power and control. This selfish behavior not only hurt Scout, but also deepened the resentment the entire Quartermain clan harbored toward him. Parents who weaponize their children in conflicts are universally despised, and Drew's actions in this regard made him even more detestable to viewers and characters alike. Alexis Davis, never one to mince words, publicly threatened Drew in a crowded restaurant where multiple witnesses could hear her declaration. Her bold confrontation demonstrated the intensity of the anger Drew had provoked in yet another Port Charles resident. Alexis has always been a force to be reckoned with, and her willingness to threaten him openly suggested that desperate times had called for desperate measures. Michael's complicated position. The destruction of Michael Corinthus's marriage to Willow represents one of Drew's most devastating accomplishments. Drew didn't just ruin their relationship, he orchestrated a spectacular implosion that resulted in a vicious custody battle over Michael and Willow's children. The emotional and legal warfare that ensued has torn through multiple families and created collateral damage that will take years to repair. Michael, who once trusted Drew as a friend and ally, watched helplessly as his entire life was systematically dismantled. Carly, the ultimate protective mother bear who would literally sacrifice anything for her children, openly threatened Drew's life in front of a credible witness. Her maternal instincts, combined with her history of taking extreme measures when her children are threatened, made her one of the most believable suspects in the shooting. Carly has never been one to make empty threats, and everyone in Port Charles knows she has the connections and determination to follow through on her promises. The epic build-up to the shooting was genuinely entertaining television. Viewers were treated to weeks of escalating tensions, confrontations, and dramatic moments that promised an equally satisfying payoff. The writers had successfully created a pressure cooker situation where the shooting seemed inevitable, and the only question was who would crack first. The Michael theory. Then everything took an unfortunate detour into what can only be described as a convoluted mess. The most compelling and dramatically interesting potential culprit in this entire saga is undoubtedly Michael Corinthos. If the writers reveal that Michael orchestrated the shooting or pulled the trigger himself, the storyline would gain multiple fascinating layers that could sustain months of additional drama. The psychological complexity of Michael deciding to eliminate Drew would provide rich material for character exploration and family dynamics. Consider the implications if Michael not only shot Drew, but also deliberately framed Willow for the crime. This double betrayal would represent the ultimate revenge, eliminating the man who destroyed his marriage while simultaneously ensuring that Willow faces serious legal consequences for their affair. Michael could effectively kill two birds with one stone, dealing with both parties who shattered his world and hurt him beyond measure. The Drew and Willow affair didn't just damage Michael's pride, it fundamentally altered his psychological makeup from the inside out, transforming him into someone capable of contemplating dark actions he never would have considered before. However, the storyline has a significant problem if Michael did frame Willow. The discovery of Edward Quartermain's gun in Willow's room at Elizabeth Baldwin's house seemed far too convenient and obvious. Michael has unrestricted access to the Quartermain mansion where Edward's possessions, including his gun collection, are stored. He could have easily smuggled the weapon out and planted it in Willow's temporary residence when he made that unexpected visit to inform her about visitation arrangements with their children. That particular scene where Michael visits Willow at Elizabeth's home felt somewhat off and disingenuous to careful viewers. Something about his demeanor and the timing of his generosity seemed calculated rather than genuine. Michael had previously arranged a supervised meeting between Willow, their children, and a therapist, which was supposed to take place before Willow's shocking arrest for attempted murder. The sequence of events doesn't quite add up, and the convenience of the gun's discovery raises more questions than it answers. The obvious route. If the writers ultimately reveal that Willow was the actual shooter rather than merely a red herring in this elaborate mystery, then General Hospital will have taken the most obvious and arguably laziest creative path available. Willow was once one of the most beloved characters on the show, but recent storylines have systematically turned fan opinion against her. Many viewers now actively want to see her face consequences for her actions, making her guilt feel like fan service rather than sophisticated storytelling. The problem with making Willow the shooter is that it would essentially invalidate all the time invested in developing this mystery. The writers might as well have ended the story months ago if they were simply going to choose the most obvious suspect who had access to the weapon. The potential for complex, nuanced storytelling would be wasted on such a straightforward resolution. The comparison to days of our lives. The situation has devolved into repetitive circles for months now, with each week providing minimal new information while rehashing the same suspects and theories. An excellent example of how a whodunit mystery should be executed exists in the recent Who Shot E.J. DiMera storyline on Days of Our Lives. That arc featured a similar initial setup, with most Salem residents harboring legitimate grievances against E.J. DiMera, creating an extensive suspect pool. However, Days of Our Lives executed the meat of the story with precision and maintained viewer engagement throughout. The writing remained sharp, the pacing appropriate, and most importantly, the eventual payoff justified the build-up. DOOL made the shocking decision to reveal that EJ's 10-year-old niece, Rachel Black, was the shooter, a twist that absolutely nobody predicted but made complete sense within the story's context. Rachel had clear motives related to protecting her family, and her age added unexpected emotional depth to the resolution. Days of Our Lives also employed Johnny DiMera as the perfect red herring. He had recently discovered that EJ raped his mother and that Johnny himself was conceived through that assault. This revelation provided Johnny with one of the strongest motives imaginable for wanting EJ dead, making him a credible suspect that distracted viewers from the actual truth. The misdirection worked beautifully, and the ultimate reveal felt both surprising and earned. General Hospital's missteps. General Hospital's handling of the Who Shot Drew mystery has become increasingly problematic as time has progressed. The story has expanded beyond its original scope, becoming bloated with unnecessary subplots and tangential details that distract from the central question. The involvement of Selena Wu's organization raises additional confusing questions. How could professional associates of an experienced criminal like Selena Wu miss their target if they were actually responsible for the shooting? Unless the shooter was Brad Cooper, whose marksmanship skills are questionable at best, this angle makes little sense. If the shooting had nothing to do with Selena Wu's operations, then introducing that angle was pointless narrative padding that wasted valuable screen time. Either way, this subplot doesn't resolve anything or move the story forward in meaningful ways. The mystery has accumulated too many loose threads and contradictory elements, transforming what should have been a tight, focused whodunit into a sprawling mess that lacks coherent direction. Viewers have reached their breaking point with Patience. The overwhelming sentiment across fan communities is a collective desire for the writers to simply reveal the shooter's identity and move on to new storylines. The mystery has long since lost its ability to captivate audiences, and continuing to drag it out only generates frustration rather than anticipation. The missed opportunity. Surprisingly, Soap Opera Digest recently proclaimed the Who Shot Drew mystery as the best storyline of 2025 on General Hospital, a claim that many devoted viewers found baffling and impossible to support. The assessment seems completely disconnected from fan reactions and the actual quality of storytelling that has been delivered. Too many unresolved loose ends exist, too many questions remain unanswered, and too much time has been wasted on circular conversations that fail to advance the plot. Perhaps most disappointingly, Drew himself emerged from his near-death experience completely unchanged. When he regained consciousness after being shot, he remained the same despicable, self-centered monster he had always been. There was no moment of reflection, no indication that staring death in the face had prompted any desire for personal growth or redemption. The shooting provided a perfect opportunity for character development that the writers completely ignored. Drew never expressed any interest in turning over a new leaf or becoming a better person, despite having a stark reminder of his mortality. This represents a massive missed opportunity for meaningful character evolution. What began as an exciting, promising mystery with genuine dramatic potential has deteriorated into something dull and seemingly endless. With no satisfying conclusion in sight and no character growth to justify the extended timeline. Next, we will learn about the explosive developments happening in Port Charles over the next 3 weeks that will leave fans absolutely stunned. The upcoming episodes, spanning from December 22nd through January 9th, promise to deliver heart-stopping drama, unexpected revelations, and dangerous games that could change everything for our beloved characters. Portia's heartbreaking confession. The holiday week beginning December 22nd will bring an incredibly intimate moment between Portia Robinson and Ava Jerome that could shake the foundation of multiple relationships. Portia has been carrying an enormous burden on her shoulders, and it appears she's finally ready to unload this weight onto someone who might actually understand her complicated situation. During what promises to be an emotional heart-to-heart conversation, Portia may finally voice the truth that's been eating away at her. The identity of who she genuinely hopes is the father of her unborn child. The tension surrounding this pregnancy has been building for weeks, and viewers have watched Portia struggle with feelings she never expected to have. Could it be that deep in her heart, Portia is secretly hoping that the upcoming paternity test will reveal Isaiah Gannon as the biological father rather than her husband Curtis Ashford? This would be an absolutely devastating revelation that could tear apart Curtis and Portia's marriage, especially considering everything they've already been through together. The emotional complexity of this situation cannot be overstated as Portia finds herself caught between duty, love, and unexpected desires that have emerged from her connection with Isaiah. Trina seeks reconciliation. Meanwhile, Trina Robinson will be attempting to repair some seriously damaged bridges during this emotional holiday period. Her behavior toward Jordan Ashford has been notably hostile and disrespectful in recent weeks, creating an uncomfortable atmosphere whenever they're in the same room. Trina's attitude hasn't gone unnoticed by those around her, and it seems she's finally recognizing that her treatment of Jordan has been completely unacceptable. The young woman will likely swallow her pride and offer a heartfelt apology, hoping that Jordan can find it in her heart to forgive the hurtful words and cold shoulder she's been receiving. This attempted reconciliation comes at a crucial time as family dynamics continue to shift and evolve. Trina understands that maintaining this hostile relationship with Jordan isn't sustainable, especially given their interconnected lives through Curtis and the broader Port Charles community. Whether Jordan will be receptive to Trina's olive branch remains to be seen, but the effort itself shows significant maturity and growth from Trina's character. Finding a path to peace between these two strong women won't be easy, but it's absolutely necessary if they want to move forward in a healthy way. Holiday celebrations and family bonds. The Christmas season will bring some much-needed warmth and joy as Dante Falconeri and his newly discovered son Giovanni Joe Palmieri come together with Rocco Falconeri for what promises to be a touching family celebration. This will mark an incredibly significant moment as they embrace the holiday spirit and work toward building stronger familial bonds. The three generations gathering together represents hope for the future and the possibility of healing old wounds through love and understanding. Dante has been working tirelessly to integrate Joe into their lives, and this Christmas celebration could be the perfect opportunity to solidify those connections and create lasting memories. However, not everyone will be feeling quite so festive. Harrison Chase finds himself on the receiving end of some absolutely crushing and disappointing news that threatens to dampen his holiday spirit considerably. While the exact nature of this information remains unclear, there's strong speculation that it relates directly to the ongoing legal troubles surrounding Willow Kane's upcoming trial. Chase has become deeply invested in seeing justice served properly, and whatever updates he receives could leave him feeling anxious and concerned about how events might unfold in the courtroom. The weight of this disappointing development will hang heavy over Chase, potentially affecting his ability to fully enjoy the holiday season with his loved ones. Shocking revelations for Alexis. Alexis Davis is about to have her world turned completely upside down when she receives some absolutely explosive and shocking new information that could fundamentally change her entire defense strategy. This game-changing intel might very well come from Martin Gray, who has proven himself to be a valuable ally and shrewd legal mind. There's also the tantalizing possibility that a mysterious eavesdropper who recently overheard incriminating conversations between Michael Corinthos and Tracy Quartermain could be the source of this bombshell information. Whatever the origin of this shocking revelation, one thing is absolutely certain: it will force Alexis to completely reassess her approach to defending Willow in the courtroom. The implications of this new information could be massive, potentially providing Alexis with powerful ammunition to use in Willow's defense, or perhaps revealing complications that make the case even more challenging than initially anticipated. Alexis will need to carefully consider how to proceed with this newfound knowledge, weighing the ethical implications and strategic advantages of incorporating it into her defense strategy. Programming changes and Drew's dilemma. Fans should make note that General Hospital will be preempted on Thursday, December 25th, allowing everyone to enjoy their Christmas celebrations with family and friends. The good news is that viewers won't have to endure a lengthy wait for more Port Charles drama, as brand new episodes will resume their regular schedule on Friday, December 26th, picking up right where the action left off. As Willow's trial continues to loom large over Port Charles, Drew Cain may find himself seriously reconsidering a rather controversial and potentially dangerous plan. The idea of falsely claiming that he suddenly remembers Michael shooting him has been floating around as a possible defense tactic. Despite the significant ethical and legal problems such a lie would create, both Alexis and Willow have already attempted to steer Drew away from pursuing this risky course of action, recognizing the potential catastrophic consequences that could result from such deception. However, Drew's determination to protect Willow and help her avoid serious legal consequences might override his better judgment. If Drew does decide to move forward with pretending he has total recall of the shooting incident, he could be opening Pandora's box in the most spectacular fashion. The most terrifying possibility is that Drew's manufactured memories could eventually transform into genuine recollections. And what if those real memories reveal that it was actually Willow who pulled the trigger instead of Michael? Such a development would create an absolute nightmare scenario for everyone involved, potentially destroying lives and relationships in its wake. Sidwell's dangerous party. The drama will intensify significantly when the mysterious and menacing Sidwell decides to throw an elaborate and extravagant bash at the iconic Windermere Castle. This gathering promises to be anything but a simple social event, as Sidwell's parties have a notorious reputation for becoming stages where shocking revelations unfold and dangerous confrontations occur. The guest list alone could create explosive situations, bringing together individuals with complicated histories and simmering tensions that could boil over at any moment. Several intriguing possibilities exist for how chaos might erupt at this lavish celebration. Could uninvited guests crash the party, bringing unwanted drama and potential violence to the festivities? Will long-buried secrets suddenly surface in the middle of the celebration, exposing lies and betrayals that have been carefully hidden? Or might Sidwell himself orchestrate some calculated move during the event, using the gathering as cover for advancing his mysterious and undoubtedly sinister agenda? Whatever transpires, you can bet that this party at Windermere will be remembered as one of the most dramatic and consequential social events Port Charles has witnessed in quite some time. Anna's desperate situation. During the week spanning December 29th through January 2nd, Anna Devane will find herself continuing to desperately analyze every possible clue related to her kidnapping situation. Her brilliant detective mind never stops working, constantly processing information and looking for any potential weakness in her captor's plans. Anna's experience and training make her a formidable opponent, even when she's being held against her will. And she won't simply sit passively waiting for rescue. If Pascal, her captor, makes even the slightest mistake or shows any momentary lapse in vigilance, Anna will be ready to seize that opportunity and attempt a daring escape. Her survival instincts are sharp, and she understands that creating her own opportunities for freedom may be her best chance rather than relying solely on outside help. The coming days will test Anna's resourcefulness, courage, and determination as she works tirelessly to find a way out of this extremely dangerous predicament. New Year's Eve romance. As the calendar prepares to turn from 2025 to 2026, Port Charles residents will be looking forward to romantic celebrations and fresh beginnings. New Year's Eve has always been a special time in the soap opera world, bringing couples together for memorable moments and setting the stage for new relationship developments. Several pairings around town could find themselves counting down to midnight together, sharing champagne toasts, and perhaps stealing passionate kisses as the clock strikes 12. One particularly interesting potential pairing involves Cody Bell and Molly Lansing Davis, whose relationship has been developing in unexpected ways. If Cody can finally get his act together and make his romantic intentions crystal clear to Molly, demonstrating that his feelings for her run much deeper than any lingering connections to Britt Westburn, then perhaps these two could share a magical midnight kiss to ring in the new year. Such a moment could mark the official beginning of a new chapter in both their lives, transforming their relationship from friendship into something much more romantic and significant. Josslyn's dangerous investigation. Josslyn Jax is playing an increasingly dangerous game as she continues her determined quest to uncover the true identity of the mysterious Barbara Saunders. Her investigative efforts could lead to some absolutely stunning discoveries that have massive implications for multiple storylines. The truth is that Carly was the one who posed as Valentine Casadin's attorney using that fake identity, and if Josslyn manages to follow the evidence trail successfully, she might actually figure out her mother's involvement in this deceptive scheme. The revelation that her own mother was behind the Barbara Saunders facade would create an incredibly complicated situation for Josslyn, forcing her to grapple with questions about loyalty, honesty, and the lengths people go to protect those they love. This discovery could fundamentally alter Josslyn's perception of her mother and the ethical boundaries that should govern their actions, even when motivated by good intentions. Escalating dangers. The week of January 5th through 9 will bring even more perilous situations for Josslyn as her investigations continue to expand and deepen. She's actively digging for additional information related to Britt Westburn and regularly reporting her findings back to Jason Morgan, who has his own interests in uncovering the truth. However, Josslyn's behind-the-scenes intelligence gathering hasn't gone completely unnoticed, and she may be heading towards serious trouble. If Brennan discovers that Josslyn has been operating behind his back and sharing classified or sensitive information that should remain confidential, his response could be swift and severe. The possibility of facing treason charges is absolutely terrifying, but it's a very real threat that Josslyn may soon confront. Her determination to uncover the truth and help those she cares about could end up putting her own freedom and future in serious jeopardy. The question becomes whether Josslyn will back down when threatened, or if her courage and commitment to the truth will push her to continue despite the enormous personal risks involved. Taking down Sidwell. Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos and Laura Collins will be working together in their ongoing efforts to neutralize the threat that Sidwell represents to Port Charles. Their strategy involves carefully gathering intelligence about Sidwell's true agenda and ultimate goals, looking for vulnerabilities and weaknesses they can exploit to their advantage. Every demand Sidwell makes and every move he executes provides additional data points that Sonny and Laura can analyze, searching for patterns and potential mistakes. The more aggressive and demanding Sidwell becomes, the greater the likelihood that he'll overextend himself or make critical errors in judgment that create openings for his opponents. Sonny and Laura understand that patience and careful observation are crucial in this high-stakes game, and they're prepared to wait for exactly the right moment to strike. When that opportunity finally presents itself, they'll need to act decisively and effectively to ensure Sidwell's schemes are permanently dismantled before he can cause even more damage to the people and institutions they're working so hard to protect.